Shalom and welcome to all my brothers and sisters across this earth. In this brief video presentation, I would like to share with you for just a moment the logical and textual reasons why Karaites, Israelites in general, that reject the Pharisaic teachings of the Talmudic teachings of the Pharisees, why throughout history we have rejected these notions and these claims that there was two Torahs, the written and the oral Torah as they call it. Why have we rejected this throughout history? Let's look at the logical reasons. Number one, throughout the Hebrew scriptures, Tanakh, the word Torah in the sense of the body of divine instruction is always used in the singular, where the Mishnah, a genuine oral Torah, surely somewhere in the scriptures the existence of two Torahs would have been mentioned at least once. We don't find that anywhere, clearly. Whenever the whole body of the Torah is mentioned in the singular. On the other hand, the Rabbinites specifically claim that there are passages in the Torah itself that prove that there was two Torahs, an oral and a written Torah. The written Torah and the oral Torah. Yet the term Torah, when meaning collective or a collection of divine instruction, never appears in the plural ever in the entire Tanakh. All we read about in the Tanakh is a singular Torah of Moshe, never the Torahs in a plural sense of Moshe. Number two, throughout the 6 divisions of the Mishnah, there is a lack of the biblical formula. And Yehovah spoke unto Moshe and Aaron. Instead, the Mishnah is written as so. Rabbi so-and-so said in the name of Rabbi so-and-so. The Mishnah is thus clearly the words of men, according to Karaites, very clearly. Number 3, the Tanakh reports that the written Torah was both lost and forgotten for some 50 years. We find this in 2 Kings chapter 22, verse 8, 2 Chronicles chapter 34, verse 15. 50 years, the written Torah. It was only rediscovered by the temple priests. It is inconceivable to Israelites, Karaites, that an oral Torah could have been remembered when even the written Torah was forgotten. It just makes no sense whatsoever, especially since the oral law is dependent on the written Torah to derive its full meaning. Number 4, the rabbis claim that the oral Torah was given on Mount Sinai as the official interpretation of the Torah itself, meaning the Talmudic teachings are the interpretation of how to understand the Torah according to them. So without it, it's like having a skeleton without no meat, no flesh, no heart, no soul, nothing. Yet, if one actually looks at the Mishnah and the Talmud, they are full of the opinions of rabbis who disagree with each other, literally, going back and forth, say, well, I don't agree with you, well, I don't agree with you, and I see it like this and this, back and forth. On almost every single issue, the rabbis explain that whenever there are such disagreements, listen carefully, they say, both opinions are the words of the living God. So you see where I'm going with this. It's very, very clear to us why we don't accept this. We don't find this in Tanakh. We don't find Jeremiah arguing with Ezekiel and then Job arguing with Jonah. We don't find any of that stuff. While it is possible for two learned individuals to reach different binding conclusions, I mean, people have different opinions. We know that. That's what they'll come back with is, well, everybody disagrees. No, nobody agrees with you 100%. We don't have to agree. But I don't claim that what I believe something is speaking about is from Mount Sinai. We're okay to disagree. It's okay to disagree and have our differences. But the fact of the matter is, what does Tanakh teach clearly? Karaites maintain that it is unreasonable to believe that God would consistently contradict himself. That's the point. Now let's look at the textual reasons that Karaites reject the oral law. Number 1, then Yehovah your God, this is in the scripture of Deuteronomy chapter 30, verses 9 through 10. Then Yehovah your God will make you most prosperous, for Yehovah will again rejoice over you for good, as he rejoiced over your fathers, if you shall hearken to the voice of Yehovah your God, to keep all the commandments which are written in the scroll of the Torah. Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 9. Number 2, and Moshe wrote this Torah and delivered it unto the priests, sons of Levi. A literal, physical Torah. Okay, delivered it. Number 3, in Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 11, it says, when all Israel is come to appear before God in the place which he shall choose, you shall read this Torah before all of Israel in their ears. Number 4, in Joshua chapter 1, verse 8, it says, "This scroll of the Torah shall not depart out of your mouth, but you shall meditate therein day and night, that you may observe to do according to all that is written in it." No mention afterwards of the oral Torah. Then you will have the oral Torah explained to you, because without it you can't understand this Torah scroll. Never says that. Let's look at Joshua chapter 8, verses 34 through 35. This is number 5 on the list of textual reasons. This is the most powerful proof text to me. Very clear. It's not out of context. Look at this. "After that, he," meaning Joshua, "read all the words of the Torah, the blessing and the curse, according to all that is written in the scroll of the Torah." There was not a word of all that Moshe had commanded that Joshua failed to read in the presence of the entire assembly of Israel. The last verse that I just read here in Joshua chapter 8 can stand alone in summing up the entire Karaite or Israelite argument that we believe only in the scriptures. We don't believe in two Torahs. There's only one written Torah. And this is absolutely checkmate proof text to show why we stand by this. So therefore, this is why Karaites stand firm on the fact that there is only one Torah, the written Torah, and we reject the claims of the Talmudic teachings. We respect them. We respect our rabbinical brothers and sisters, and I'm not here to attack or to cause an argument or fights. I'm just saying why we stand where we stand, because a lot of rabbinites will say, or rabbinical Jews will say, how could you possibly follow only the written Torah? You don't even know how to do anything. Again, this is not the case. This has always been throughout history. Israelites have rejected the oral Torah, the Pharisaic teachings, as the commandments of men, because we believe that the scripture alone is the authority. So therefore, Kara in ancient Hebrew means what today is Tanakh, the Hebrew scriptures. So it's like saying Tanakhites. We stand by the scriptures alone as the authority from Elohim, God himself. So therefore, we consider everything else that is written the commandments of men.